Well, it was a big response from Arsenal today. It had to be. And you've had a look, Danny, at why they got so much joy down that right-hand side. Was it down to them or the way Spurs set up?
Well, it's fair to say Spurs were pretty poor at times, but Arsenal were outstanding. And this partnership on the right-hand side that they haven't had in recent weeks of Saka in his most comfortable position and Timber behind, when at its best, is one of the best in Europe. And Tottenham could not cope with them today, especially in the first half, time and time again. Now, I know this team's working on some new things with the manager, but some of it's basic. There's Timber. Simon's playing as a 10. Finds himself in a left-back position, trying to double up. Doesn't really want to be there. 2v1, Jed Spence, the wing-back. Little early warning for Tottenham. And we know how good Timber is. He makes all sort of runs. He's a good player. Spence, again, caught in between. Saka's behind him this time. Sarr has left the central midfield area to come over and try and help. Rather, they don't know who's doing what. You don't want to be left one-on-one with Saka in the left-back position when you're a midfielder. You know, he should do better, but there's the first goal. And they didn't fix this problem. It just went on and on and on as the game, got more open. This one, Saka inside Spence and Van der Ven. 3 centre-backs. Van der Ven's the left one. Spence is the wing-back. You can see Saka pointing where he wants it. Jed Spence is asking Van der Ven. The communication's poor from Tottenham. Great ball and, again, nearly score a goal. Opening them up too often. Now, Jed Spence here, I don't know whether he's been told to go and press or what the messaging is, but if he just drops in and marks Saka, leaves Sarr to close Timber down, you don't get this situation because, as I said, when you're a central midfielder and you find yourself in full-back positions, you get a bit lost. And then Spence switches off. Timber gets in again because he's non-stop. He loves making runs in behind. And Trossard's unlucky little deflection takes it past the post. More of the same second half. I actually felt for Jed Spence as the game went on. He didn't know what to do, whether to drop off or press. The 2v1 situation again, a little knockdown from Rice and a bit of last-ditch defending to stop Eze getting a shot in. And this, if you leave Timber free, the quality he's got, I mean, this is a wonderful pass. Yeah, there's still a bit to do from Gyökeres, but he's just an outstanding player, and they really struggled to stop that threat today. Didn't really know who to go, when to go. Poor communication, poor plan, I don't know. And Saka topped off a brilliant performance, nearly with a goal, ends up Eze getting the goal. But that position he kept taking inside the inside right position, no one really sure who to get him. And his stats were phenomenal today. I mean, there's been a few question marks about him recently. What do they say? Form is temporary, class is permanent. He's a class operator, he really is. And I think playing him on that right side, leaving him to get on with it, with Timber supporting him, is where we'll see him the rest of the season, because I know he played as a 10 the other day. There was a real energy and urgency, wasn't there? And the game, as you pointed out there, became quite open quite quickly. But there's one performance in particular you want to have a look at, Shay. Yeah, and Steve Wilson asked Victor Gyökeres if that was his best game. Steve clearly thought it was. Victor did, and you third it.
Yeah, I'll third it, Gavi, yeah. No, I really think it was a special game for him. You know, there's so much talk before he joined the club. They need an out-and-out striker. And I think Gyökeres today really said to the Arsenal fans and maybe to the Premier League, I've arrived. It was one of them kind of performances. He did everything you want from a centre forward. He really did. You see here, peeling on the back of Paulinho today was the right side centre half, and of course Dragiston as well. You know, occupying the middle of the goal. He wins a header, can go anywhere, of course. But if you just keep an eye on him, his movement is what we say a natural centre forward. He frees up space for elsewhere. You see here, Paulinho jumps in, creates the space down the channel, the left channel, and that's where he's done a lot of his good work. This was his first half, of course, very close to getting on the score sheet. We know Arsenal, brilliant from set plays. He's a physical threat in the air as well. This time Saliba should really score with that knockback from Gyökeres. And again, I know Danny mentioned the goal there before, but look at his movement here. His first touch makes it. He doesn't even look up to where the goal is. It's a phenomenal strike. Vicario, absolutely no chance. And even here, later on in the game, he's down the side where you want him, your centre forward, keeping high up the pitch. You're away from home in a North London derby. It's a big game. And this is what I love as well. You know, Tottenham put a high press on them. You want your centre forward down that side, chasing lost causes sometimes at times. And you see Arteta, he's happy with his centre forward. And this is, the icing on the cake in the injury time. He's so strong, he's so powerful. Can he finish it under pressure from Gray? Too right he can. And I think that was his for me, his best performance, and a perfect time as well to get it on the run into the end of the season.
He's scored more goals in all competitions in 2026 than any other Premier League player, so he really is hitting his stride, isn't he? At the right time for Arsenal as well. I'm sure they'll be delighted with his form in 26. Now, you want to have another look at the disallowed goal for Spurs, and it's important to say it was the context of when it occurred in the game that you think is really important.
I mean, Arsenal fans might want to switch off now because they won 4-1, but I'm just getting to a point whereas this could have been 2-2 in the game, and the only reason I wanted to look at it is because the last two games, Brentford away for Arsenal, obviously Wolves that they were, midweek there, they had a really poor giveaway leads in the game, and I wanted to look at this is to bring it back to 2-2, and you imagine Gabby in a North London derby as well, how much the stadium would erupt if this had been allowed. I just think it's soft. I mean, Peter Banks gives, you see Gabriel, you see Mouani, there's a coming together, but this is the Premier League. We talk about it every single week. It's a physical sport. There is coming together. If I'm with Danny, I'm going to barge him, I'm going to bump him, and the way Gabriel's gone down, I mean, I don't know what they say, I don't want to be too strong here, but the BAFTAs are up the road, and look at his legs up in the air. I mean, it's crazy. And I think Peter Banks could have let that go, or even at least spoke to VAR. And the reason we say it, because there's another couple of examples. This is early in the season. You look at Euro on Bassi here. This goal was allowed.
This was in August.
Yeah, this is in August, Gabby, and this goal was allowed. There's a push on the back there. The refs gave it on the pitch. It's gone to VAR. They've said it's a goal as well, and there's much more of a push there, I think, than today's push, for example. I think that's a stronger push, and Tottenham fans will really be angry at this stage now, because this is Ekitike on Romero early in the season. Watch this. See, I don't think this is a foul here in Ekitike's defence. He's got up early. It's a physical game, but that goal stands. Today's goal doesn't stand, and maybe I'm clutching a bit because Danny rightly says Arsenal were a much better team today, but getting back to 2-2, I
think it's the psychology.
It's the psychology.
If it's 2-2
in the
it's
title
very
race.
Different, isn't it?
Yeah. How do the Arsenal fans react?
I agree with you. I think it's something you want consistency.
Yeah.
The reality is that if you love football and you enjoy watching it, you don't expect 6'4" centre halves to be falling over. But to be fair to Gabriel, he knows generally that if you get a touch in the back and you go over, you're going to get it. So it's a kind of chicken and egg thing. Whereas the referees have got to be stronger. But the two examples you showed. More or less exactly the same. So they have a reason to feel disappointed today, I think, Tottenham.
But Arsenal fans right now are saying, but we won 4-1 and we now have our 5-point buffer back.
And probably would have won anyway.
Yeah, and so that 5-point buffer is back. We don't know when that extra game that Manchester City are one game behind, obviously, in the table is going to be played. Yet it hasn't been scheduled. We do know that City and Arsenal will play each other on the 18th of April. We heard Arteta there saying, this is a marathon. Is this going down to the wire, do you think?
It looks that way. I mean, Man City last night had a tough game against Newcastle. Newcastle were strong second half. They came out on top. Man City, you can see the sort of celebrations or Pep Guardiola, see the glint back in his eye. He feels that this Man City team can really pull it together, really push Arsenal away. I mean, to be fair to Arteta, he's been in the same dugout with Pep. He knows he's not going to give up right to the final game of the season. And you mentioned the game April 18th. That looks like nearly like a cup final. Who's going to win the Premier League? And that's what we want as a neutral.
It's that weekend.
We want it to go all the way to the wire.
Yeah. You and neutral.
Yeah, I'm a neutral.
And at the other end of the table, Spurs started the day, Danny, at 4 points off the relegation zone. And let's have a look at their next six fixtures, because they are right in it now. They
are banging trouble because they're so low on confidence. They've got very few of their best players fit. They've also got to try and get the European campaign in. While they're tough games physically. A lot of these games they're going to have a chance of course they are. Fulham, Palace, Forest, even Liverpool can play badly at the moment. We've seen that. They're in a hell of a battle.
Romero back for Liverpool. Other players, of course, to come back as well.
I'm not sure who's going to get back and when. The reality is it doesn't matter who's playing. If they're disorganised and the confidence is low and giving up as many chances as they are today, they're going to have problems. Spurs staying up for you?
It's going to be tight. They haven't won a game in the Premier League this year. So that's a concern. Tudor's come in this week. It was a heavy defeat today in the North. It's the worst possible start for him. And as Danny Wright says, them fixtures on paper look easy, but the way they're playing, they're decimated by injuries at the minute. So I'll say but it's going to be close.
I think just about.
Yeah.
With a big win against their neighbours Tottenham. There was a lot of jeopardy around it, Gary, to start with. We know all the noise. Noise has been a pertinent word this week after what happened at Wolves. How did Arsenal deal with it?
Really well in the end. I think at half time they maybe look back at that first half and think, how are we in this position? 1-1. We're so dominant in the game. Tottenham had only had one touch in their box, and just little things. You know, there was a Hincapié little mistake. There was a little Gabriel and Saliba one, and I think Timber made one with a little pass into midfield. And then Declan Rice goes and makes the ultimate one, which gives the goal away. And you're thinking, you're causing your own problems here, and where's this coming from? Because these are the ones that have been the best defence in the league, the most reliable characters. They've been brilliant all season. David Raya makes the mistake on Wednesday night, so you're starting to think, is it becoming contagious, these little errors that are going to cost a team who are dominant in football matches? But if you do make individual errors in moments, then you're still going to cause yourself a problem. So, but in the end, it was really important what happened today, because look, it's too early really for that real title pressure. We're not quite in the home straight. You know, it's 10 games to go, so there's no doubt games are, you know, eroding fast. But I think, to be fair, this is going to get really hot when it gets into April, as we know. But you're now getting to a point where games really do count, and when you drop points, and Arsenal have been on a difficult run. So you're looking at them today and thinking, right, okay, we signalled out, or I did, David Raya before the game, because I think he's been absolutely incredible. I think everybody thinks he's been incredible. What a goalkeeper he's been this season and for the last couple of seasons for Arsenal. But you're thinking, he's had Thursday and Friday to think long and hard and listen to that noise about what happened on Wednesday night. And what is he going to do in this game? Is he just going to be a little bit more tentative? Is he going to be a little bit more wobbly, a little bit more shaky? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You look at his body language, the way in which he had authority, the way in which he came out and dominated his area and caught every single cross that came in, even ones that you thought he didn't really have to come for that one. We wouldn't have been having a go at him if he didn't do, but he came for ones that were brave. So I think it was really important for him today, you know, to make sure he gets back to his sort of what would be mistake-free best. And in the end, he makes something really special there, doesn't he, where he sort of reaches back. I mean, we sometimes slow these sort of what would be replays down, which is the right thing to do so everyone can see it at home, but it doesn't do it justice of the reactions of how, we know how quick goalkeepers are off the mark. They're like lightning, they really are. I think I might have said this story before, but the goalkeepers were always the quickest over 5 yards when we did the sprint test, because just the ability to get there quickly and just off the mark, and you could see that with brilliant with Raya at that end of the pitch, and then at the other end of the pitch. I think it was so important what Gyökeres did today. I like him as a centre forward in the sense that I like a centre forward who's imperfect, who's a bit rugged, who's a bit of a handful. I'd hate to play against him. Sticks his body in, sticks his backside in, doesn't necessarily do everything in the sort of more smooth or perfect way. And there's times this season where you've thought, is he a hit or is he a miss? Is he good or is he average? You know, you're almost from week to week balancing a little bit about what this guy is. But if you could actually encapsulate and package up a performance of what you'd want from him, you got it out there today again in a really big game. I thought that from the very first few minutes, he was running down the side. Sometimes he gets involved a little bit too much in battles and scraps and muscling with centre halves, but he made movements down the side. He was a little bit more elusive. I thought that he held it up and was quite clever at times. He was a nuisance. He did run the channels. He always works hard. I actually thought he looked leaner and fitter, and I don't know how that happens, because obviously we've seen him a lot in the last few weeks, but I just thought he just looked a little bit more like he had legs and like he had a bit more power, rather than him looking a little bit sort of what would be heavy and ungainly and sort of it looking like he's running in treacle. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you watch him, you think. And then today I thought he was really good, and then he gets his goals. The first one's a really good goal. Eze, I think, being up there alongside him, taking Dragerson away and taking a centre forward, just means that he gets a yard and he finishes. He misses his couple of chances in the first half, but he finishes in that second half, and then he gets his what would be almost like a glory moment at the end, where he can sort of go up there and celebrate to your heart's content. The second one, I said, don't celebrate too much. There's a job to do. Switch on. Declan Rice did that after the first goal, didn't he? If you remember, he's going to his teammates, switch on. That's definitely a switch on moment at 2-1. We're not making a mistake here. This is where we go and see it home, and Arsenal have really done that today. But it was a good day for David Raya, who's been brilliant all season. Gyökeres, who's not been brilliant all season, I thought it was his best moment of the season. Not just because he scored 2 in a game against the biggest rivals and had a wonderful celebration over there with the Arsenal fans, but because his general performance from start to finish was what you would expect from him. He needs to kick on from that, because he set himself a level there today.
I wonder, this is a slightly mischievous question, I wonder whether it was nice for Arsenal to play here. You know, that there was a lot of talk about Tottenham feeding on Arsenal's nerves, but obviously Arsenal's kind of tense performances, one or two of them have been in front of their own supporters who are feeling the history of these 22 years without the title and so on. And you didn't get the same sense of panic here at all, did you? Even when Tottenham did equalise?
No, I don't think you heard it, but the stadium announcer before the game, he did a massive impassioned speech and address to the crowd probably about 5 minutes before kickoff, where he said they're worried, they're nervous, you know what I mean, they don't want this type thing. And that was the sort of feeling in this ground. I mean, Tottenham fans, the ones I spoke to before the game, I always, when I'm coming up in the lift, say, what do you think today, just to get and they said, I think we'll get beat, you know what I mean. So I think the reality was there, that they thought they could get beat, but the bit of hope that I think they had was probably Wolves. And they were probably thinking, if we can make them nervous, if they show a little bit of anxiety through the fact they're in a title race, and there's been a lot of talk about wobbling in the last few days, then, you know, they could potentially do something in this match. But it didn't emerge. And I think playing here, I think, look, they got a grip of the game early, to be fair to them. By the way, what about the nonsense with the sound issues with the referees? That needs to stop, by the way. I don't know if someone listens from, you know, PGMOL or Premier League, but that is absolutely rubbish, that we've got to stop a game for how long today? 11 minutes, 12 minutes maybe? 5-6 in the first half, and then before half time, before the second half started, another 5-6. But, you know, today, big question marks of Arsenal at the start of the game. They handled it, they played well, they dominated the first 20 minutes. They then go and get the goal, really good. And then they have the one sort of mistake in the game, the one blip is when obviously they let Tottenham back in it within 30 seconds, so you're thinking, oh, okay. So there's another big question coming at half-time when they come out for the second half, but they've answered it. The big question at 2-1 then is, can they go and kill the game off? Are they going to let Tottenham back into it? And they've answered that. So there's a number of questions throughout this match that Arsenal have answered. Can they score goals? Can they go? They've done everything right today. So playing here was perfect for them. We've seen Tottenham 2 or 3 times here in the last couple of months, and they've been, I mean, they came back against Manchester City, but they were hopeless in the first half, weren't they? And they have got so many injuries, but I think when teams have so many injuries, you can look at it one of two ways. If they're freak injuries that just happen all at once, then you can maybe have some sympathy. But when you've got persistent and constant injuries in large numbers over 2 seasons, you've got to start to ask a bigger question. It's not unlucky anymore. You can't, you know, the recruitment has got to be questioned. Are they resilient? Are they robust enough? The training programme's got to be questioned. What are they doing out on the training pitch? The grass, the pitches have got to be questioned. Now, you can't believe that that's the case because these Deso pitches are everywhere. But, you know, the medical department are going to start to get put under pressure. The sports science, you know, we all talk about sports science and having massages and sports science. But these players are getting injured on a constant basis. So what is it? It's one of those 3-4 things that we're mentioning, but Tottenham not having their best players out on the pitch not only damaged Ange Postecoglou last season, it's damaged Thomas Frank this season. If they had Maddison out there, Kulusevski out there, all the other players that they've got missing, you know, Romero's obviously missing through a different reason today. I mean, there's that many of them missing. Bentancur's missing. There's 12 of them, isn't there? Or 11 of them.
Yeah, Danso, Maddison, Udogie, Bergvall, Romero, as you said. Yeah, Kudus, Kulusevski, Porro, Odegaard, Bentancur, Ben Davis.
Yeah.
And actually, as I mentioned in the commentary, the second goalkeeper's missing as well today.
So, I mean, look, if Tottenham have those players available, then they're not going to be that easy to beat. They're going to be a far better team in every sense. But they're in trouble. Tottenham are in trouble. I mean, last season, they skirted with it a little bit, relegation. There was a little bit of a sort of, but they were always sort of clear of it, and they were managing the sort of Europa League games and just getting enough points, and you never really felt they were going to go down. This season, they've got some real work to do.
Hello, Igor. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Obviously, you've won the first games in your last 5 jobs. Does the fact you didn't win this one say more about the problems you've got at Tottenham or the quality of Arsenal?
Both things. Both things. Big gap in psychophysic moment between 2 teams. It was too much Arsenal for us in this moment with the problems we have. Also, nice to understand where we are, because you prepare in the best possible way. Then there is a game to show you reality. So it's nice from one point of view to each of us understand and come, as I said, as a player there, stay quiet and come on Tuesday and a restart after this 3-4 training, restart to work harder than we did until now, to change all habits, to change the state of mind in which the now is a team, okay? And it's the only way it's work.
Igor, what did you make of your team's defending in particular today? You seemed throughout the game to be talking to your back line, trying to get them up the pitch.
No, too much problems in this moment to that this level of team will not punish you, because you wanted to go to press high, but to press high from back you need to jump. So if you are late and you don't take the ball, run again there, okay? Also with the ball. So we prepare also to go to press high, but we didn't take the ball. We didn't take the ball, so we need more time to be in a physical moment, in physical situation that we can go strong and take the ball. Now we are not in that moment. Also.